Sandra. I'm here live with another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. Yes, I'm already ready for the night. As you can see, I've got my dressing gown on. I do like to do things differently on this channel, so sometimes I'm in my outdoor clothes, clothes I wear outside, and other times I'm just chilling in my dressing gown and PJs, because why not? I mean, I think that's what a lot of asexuals like to do, actually. We like to chill in our PJs and things, because we're not so focused on things that other people in the big wide world are focused on, such as sex. We're able to slouch around in our PJs and be quite happy with it, because we're not bothered about, so bothered about, what everyone thinks of us, because we're not trying to attract a mate in that way, if you know what I mean. But it's nice to regularly hang out, isn't it, and just chill out with your PJs on. I'm always warmer with the dressing gown on. So in today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about friendship and healing. So as you know, I lost my chestnut 10 days ago now. Chestnut, furry kid daughter. I thought I was doing well on that because I cried a lot at the time, which was good for getting grief out. Then I spent quite a few days with asexual friends. That was really, really good for me. However, after my asexual friends have gone back to where they live, life's been a little bit tougher for me. So, I just want to say, if you are going through the mill at the moment, if you're having a hard time in your life in some way, if you've been through a traumatic event recently, a significant traumatic event, because obviously losing a pet is a very significant traumatic event, especially as I was with her for over 4 years of my life. Well, almost. Well, yeah, I was with her physically here for almost 4 years, and then at my mum's for nearly another half a year. So, it's kind of hard. But I want you to know that, try and lean on some of your friends a little bit. Like, if you've got good friends, I didn't used to have good friends, so it can be really hard if you haven't got very good friends, or if your friends are not really there for you as such, because everyone's got their own lives. But, try and reach out to friends, and if you feel you can't talk about your own issues or problems, then just reach out to a friend and ask them about theirs, because there's always someone worse off than you, someone who's having their own problems. And I kind of like to do both. I like to reach out to my friends and talk a bit about my loss of Chestnut, but I also like to talk to them about their problems, because, a problem shared is a problem halved. And I feel that if I can listen to some other people's problems sometimes, as long as they're not directly impacting my own health and well-being, if you know what I mean, I feel that, it's really important, because it takes you out of your own headspace. So part of healing is obviously being around friends and family. I phoned my mum today. She was really good about me being upset. It was lovely to talk to her, and being around family and friends is great if you get on well with them, and if they're sympathetic and empathetic, if they're really understanding, it's good. Obviously, they might not always be, but I think it's also as part of the healing process, as well as talking to family, friends, or if you haven't got good family or friends, then obviously go and see a counsellor, and if you really feel in need, phone the Samaritans. Hi, Michael, nice to see you. I'm talking about I'm talking about friendship and healing and various things, and getting over loss. I'm talking about trauma, because obviously losing a pet is trauma. And I'm saying, if anyone else is going through trauma, try and talk to your friends and family if you've got them. But obviously some people don't have good family or friends, so in that case it's good to speak to a counsellor. If you can't, speak to things on places on like the Samaritans. I don't want people to feel that they're completely alone and no one to talk to, because that is quite hard. I know quite a lot of asexuals can be very lonely and have a hard time trying to talk to people. I must admit though, I'm lucky I've got my parents, because I can phone my mum up pretty much any time, because she's at home nearly all the time. And I do have brilliant friends, but I can't really speak to them on the phone. They're not really phone people. So one of my friends I speak to occasionally on the phone, and I find that difficult, because I do really need sometimes to just talk to someone on the phone. I think messaging, I love messaging, you know, I wouldn't be without messaging my friends. And it's so nice when my friends message me and go, hey, how are you, Sandra? How are you feeling about Chestnut now? How's life going with you now? How are you doing? Are you okay? You know, I love that because I never used to have that in my life. So that's really important and good for me. And I think that can help the healing. But also what I was saying as well, as part of the healing process, it's good if you can ask other people how they are and what problems they're going through and help them a little bit, or just listen to them. A lot of the time people don't want their problems or issues solved, or they can't be solved. They just want a hug or just someone to care on the other end of a message or a phone. They just want someone to be there for them, you know. I think sometimes people try and fix people's problems quite a lot, and sometimes people don't want their problems to be fixed, or sometimes there's no way of fixing the problem and the person feels kind of bad they can't fix it, so they try and say something that's not actually helpful. Whereas most people just want to be listened to, understood, and have a sympathetic and empathetic conversation, you know. And lots of people want a hug as well. If you're in person, give people a hug. I never used to be a huggy person, but now I am, because I know, you know, if you're really upset, what like sometimes you just need a hug, you know. And if you've got not many people around you that are huggy, or not many people around to hug, or, you know, you live on your own. Like I live on my own, but I do live in the middle of a big house, but you know, one guy lives in a flat upstairs and the other two people have the whole house. And I walk through their hallway to get to my flat, but we don't really talk to each other usually, not very often. We'll kind of go through a stretch with maybe a few days. I end up talking to them lots, and then I won't talk to them hardly ever for months, because they like their own life. They don't like me to interfere with their life, and I've got my own life, you know. So, you know, very much I'm just going through their hallway to get to my flat, if you know what I mean, picking my post up. If I want to go and take my rubbish out, I have to go around the whole front of the house and take my rubbish out. It's a, you know, round the back of the house, but around the front of the house, if you know what I mean. I can't just walk through their kitchen to go out the back, so, because that's their territory. The front garden belongs to them as well. So, you know, even, but I like the fact I'm in a big house with other people in the house, because it feels a bit safer. And I think that's quite a concern for some asexuals, you know, is a safety factor. Like if you do get your own place, if you haven't got a housemate, you know, it's kind of like you're completely on your own. And for safety, sometimes it can be good in numbers. Obviously, if you end up having a housemate who's not very safety conscious or not actually a good person, then it's bad for you. But I have noticed that quite a lot of asexuals, they kind of want to get housemates. And I really understand that, because housemates can give you very good friendship. And they can, you know, if you get the right person, and even though you might not have a romantic relationship, if you're romantic, you know, a friendship might be enough for you for quite a long time, and having a housemate might be good, you know. So I think that's something that asexuals may want to look into as they get older, is, you know, if they feel they need some sort of person around, even if they can't get a full-blown relationship. Might be nice if they house shared or sectioned a house off into 2 different floors, or, you know, you know, if I ever had a boyfriend, I'd ideally like him to live near me, but not with me, like in the house next door, which is impossible here, because both people either side of the house probably will stay here for years to come of their life. But, you know, in an ideal world, but, you know, I don't really want to live with anyone, but I do like my circumstances here. I mean, I've lived here for absolute ages. I love the flat. I think it's very beautiful. You know, I'm peaceful here. Sometimes too peaceful, because I like some noise. But you know, I'm, you know, I'm just like talking my thoughts tonight about friendship and asexuality, and about healing as well. And you know, I think in our lifetime we go through quite a lot of trauma, and you know, we go through what we call significant emotional events, and that can really impact us. You know, I thought hopefully that would be healing quicker after Chestnut, but you know, I am still upset about it. I think that's in part because she bled to death. It's not a nice way to go, really. You know, it's not nice circumstances. And she was like, as you saw on this channel, she was lively the day before. So it's just like, you know, and I signed, because you have to sign to say it's okay to go ahead. I mean, I did it with the best of intentions, because I thought she needed the ovarian cysts out, because that was what's causing her to lose weight, because she was losing some weight even though she looked fine. So, you know, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But just, like I was tearful. I was looking back through all her videos, and pretty much, she was fine. The only time she was a bit not herself was the day she came back from the vets with a diagnosis of ovarian cyst and needing the op the following week. So she looked quite, unhappy on that video because she'd just been to the vets. And when guinea pigs go to the vets, it quite shakes them up. Like sometimes it can take a while to start eating and drinking again because, they sort of sense that something's up and it's a bit danger for them, you know what I mean? A bit traumatic for them. So my Angel's going for a checkup this Tuesday again, though. All her stitches have nearly come out, though, now, my mum said. So that's good. She's doing well. The bottom ones are not out yet, but I'm pleased that I've got one piggy left, which is good. It's better than non-piggies. But tonight, in part of healing, when I was upset, I was talking to my parents. Then I had some friends that were texting backwards and forwards. And I was asking people how they were as well. And I think you've got to mentally make yourself do that, because I think when you are upset about things, it can kind of make you very withdrawn into yourself and very self-absorbed, and because you are constantly thinking about the issues on your mind, which is only natural. But I think it's really good to kind of prompt your own mind and think, boom, what am I doing? Don't forget to ask other people how they are. Don't forget to show appreciation for the other people around you. Don't forget that other people are going through their own traumas and issues, and to reach out and ask how other people are. You don't have to reach out to everyone, just a couple of people, maybe someone you haven't asked for a while, how they're doing. I think that's really important. So yeah, but I think also it's important to know that however long it takes you to heal is however long it takes you to heal. There is no like quick guidance as to like this person should heal in this amount of time. We've all got our own ways of dealing with grief and trauma, and for some it can take longer than others. For some it's a lifetime, and I think the worst trauma to have really is in your childhood. And I think there's quite a lot of asexuals that have trauma, and sometimes we heal from childhood stuff, but I would say the majority of time we don't heal from it. I would say the majority of time there's always a wound there, like an emotional wound. The physical may have gone, but the emotional's always there. And I think it's sorry about the lag on this, by the way. I've just noticed the lag. I do apologise. It's nice to see Michael, by the way. So I think sometimes especially from childhood, there can be a lot of trauma, and we can't live in the past. All we can do is live in the present. But I know how hard it is sometimes if you had trauma in your life in the past, because it can keep coming up in flashbacks, it can keep coming up in noises we may hear, or people's actions might trigger it, and if you are having those sort of issues, I mean, it is good if you can go for some counselling. I'm not saying they're going to cure you, but it might help you to just talk through problems and issues and things. I've had events in my life, and certain noises particularly used to trigger it off again, and that was quite hard to deal with. And today, in one of my asexual groups, I can't go into detail because it's confidential, because it's a closed group, but one of the asexuals I know in the group, he revealed some past trauma from when he was very young, and it was very brave of him to admit that to the group. And he's got several other issues, and I said, I hope you're getting some help for it. And he said he is getting some help for one of the issues, so I'm really proud of him for doing that. And I think it's hard as an asexual, because I think we are shunned by society. Thanks for the thumbs up too. I think we're shunned by society as things, we're asexual because we've got some other issues going on in our life, but we are no different to sexuals, in the sense that sexuals have lots of trauma as well. Sexuals can have sexual assault done to them, for example, as well. I had a friend who used to live in my house, a housemate, if you like, but she used to live in one of the rooms in the house, not a direct housemate in my flat. I don't have anyone live with me in my flat. I just whenever if I ever say housemates, it's because I live in the middle of a house, not because I actually have people living in my flat with me, because I don't and never have done ever, thank God. I may be romantic, but I don't want someone to live with me. I really don't, which is very unusual for a romantic person. It's more normal, what's normal, but I mean, it's more common for an aromantic person, an aromantic asexual, to not want to live with someone, someone who doesn't experience romantic attraction or sexual attraction. It's much more common for him, if they are going to have a partner, for them to want to live in separate places. It's not normal for the majority of romantics to want their own separate place. There are a few of us, though, because there's more than me. I have noticed some other people as well. One on the asexual dating site, and I think my best friend Sam, best asexual friend Sam, he likes living separately as well. So there are other people, but I think we're quite rare. So I was saying that I think it's difficult when, asexuals do have trauma, because people use that kind of against us sometimes. But like what I was saying is, I used to have a person I knew who became my friend, who lived in the house. We actually used to talk and be friends more, but I didn't used to spend time with her outside the home, really. But I liked her, and she had been sexually abused, and she's sexual, very sexual. So just because asexuals have had some past trauma, some might be sexual trauma, some might be different types of trauma, it doesn't mean to say that that's why we're asexual. It doesn't mean to say that our asexuality is not true or genuine, because it still is. It's still valid. Do you know what I mean? I know there are some people that have childhood trauma, and that probably did impact their attitude towards sex in some instances. But asexuality, full definition, is the lack of sexual attraction or little to no interest in sexual activities. Thus, someone who has had a significant traumatic event, which, could have been sexual abuse, they might not feel like they want sex, because it might just have completely put them off, and they're just not bothered about it anymore. But, equally, there are people that have been sexually abused, that are sexual, that still continue to have lots of sex later on in their life. It doesn't make them asexual. Do you know what I mean? The reason you're asexual is because of the way you feel towards other people on a permanent basis. I think it's really difficult with asexuality as well, because, when some asexuals say stuff like asexuals enjoy sex, obviously some asexuals can like sex as an activity to do, but we must remember that in general, asexuals, if they enjoy sex, it's like an activity, and it's not. And if they have a high libido, which is a sex drive, which some asexuals still can have, it's usually not aimed at anyone. Whereas if you're sexually attracted to someone, your libido is aimed at them. You're thinking in your head you want to have sex with them because you want it with them, which is sexual attraction. I think the thing with asexuality quite a lot of the time is no one is defining really what sexual attraction is. I know sexual attraction is an energy. In my own words, asexuality is when you get the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. You look at a person and think, yeah, I want sex with them. That's sexual attraction. With asexuals, some may have a sex drive, as in they feel it in their body, but it's not usually aimed at anyone. Because to all intents and purposes, if it's aimed at someone, really, you're being sexually attracted to them. Do you know what I mean? So it is a hard one, really. And do you know what I mean? It's very difficult when there's such a huge asexual spectrum, with some people being completely repulsed by touch, some people being completely adverse to any sort of touching whatsoever, some asexuals liking romance, some liking non, some asexuals having sex, some having non, some being sex repulsed, some saying they enjoy sex. It's very difficult, and I think it's very difficult for outsiders who are not asexual to actually understand it as well, because, if there's an asexual who's enjoying sex, as they put it, it's kind of like, well, what's the difference between that person and someone who's sexual to an outsider? They don't get it. And I can understand why. And also, I would, I would think behind the scenes, like, why are they enjoying sex? Because they're just liking the act of it? Or is it more to it than that, So you've got to, like, be crystal clear on whether it's sexual attraction you're experiencing or not, or whether it's just a high libido that's not really aimed at anyone, but you just want to get rid of it, and you think sex is nice feeling to do. I was in one of the asexual groups today, you see, and they said, and a person who was actually a troll, so they were purposely asking, oh, can asexuals enjoy sex? And if an asexual enjoys, if an asexual really loves sex, can they really be asexual? And they found afterwards that they were trolling. They put stuff on their Facebook profile about asexuals, which, so they're coming in really to try and take the mickey out of asexuals by basically saying, well, how can you be asexual if you really love sex? That's what they were trying to do. And there was people in the thread, lots of people, that were actually saying, oh yeah, I enjoy sex, I love sex, and all the rest of it. And I just think, to the outside world, it makes it very difficult to understand asexuality. Because, like I said, there's not that many people that are actually defining sexual attraction. It's all very good and well saying, well, asexuals don't experience sexual attraction, but what does that actually mean? I know what it means, but how many other people actually know what it means? A lot of people don't even know what sexual attraction feels like. I'm asexual, but I know what it feels like from the recipient point of view, and because I'm a hyperromantic, and because I do experience arousal, it's kind of quite close, but not the same. To like I can be with guys, and I know they're sexually attracted to me. I can feel the sexual energy from them. I can feel their sexual attraction towards me. So I kind of really know what that feels like, if you know what I mean. But I do think it's very difficult when, a sexual attraction could be to obviously if you're sexual, then sexuals just take it for granted that sexual attraction. But when you're trying to break away from that sexual norm, trying to define sexual attraction versus lack of sexual attraction can be quite difficult if no one's really defining sexual attraction. Do you see what I mean? And I know this is something that's come up in asexuality.org, that no one's actually defining sexual attraction. I do. In my asexuality basics for beginners course, I say it's when you get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. You look at someone and think, yeah, I want sex with them. And it's also an energy. I know it is, even though I'm asexual, because I've been in heterosexual relationships for half my life. I understand what it feels like to be on the reciprocating, receiving, not reciprocating, because obviously I don't reciprocate the sexual attraction, the receiving end of sexual attraction. I know what that feels like. I think there's different degrees of it, because, some people can be far more sexual than others, and some sexuals cannot shine that out so much. But the really strong sexual people, you can feel it from them. You can feel it in their bodily movements. You can feel it in the way they are with you. Do you know what I mean? That's why it's when I'm dating, if I date a heterosexual, I have to feel comfortable enough around him to not feel that the sexual energy is too overwhelming for me, because it becomes completely uncomfortable for me and I don't want to be around that. I was lucky or fortunate that I was able to feel okay and comfortable around that heterosexual guy I dated. I think it was about a month and a half ago now, because he wasn't displaying towards me as much sexual energy as I was used to in the past, and I kind of trusted him on that level, when I think he would have had sex if I'd have wanted. I blatantly do, but because he said he was okay with not having sex, I believed him in that time, and I was kind of in control of where he would and wouldn't touch me, if you know what I mean. And he was very respectful of that. So I feel I'm a bit more comfortable around heterosexuals physically than I used to be, some of them. But I really need an asexual guy, because you can still feel the difference. Like, I still feel tense. And I still feel like, how do I put it? Like, I can't really relax. When I have the asexual meetup. It's been a weekend ago now, isn't it? When I have the asexual meetup, it's completely different. The atmosphere is different. Obviously, I haven't got guys trying to have sex with me. I haven't got anyone even interested in a relationship with me. So that's kind of like, I guess, easier. But not from the point of view I'd like one. But there was a guy there who was foreign, and I told you he probably just likes me as a friend. I did tell him that I thought he was beautiful when I was on my own with him, that he had a beautiful face and stuff, because I said I think he took it well, and I said I think it's important to tell someone if you think they're beautiful, because a lot of people I don't think are told they're beautiful in life, and especially with asexuals. Some asexuals can feel like, we're not normal and we're kind of like out of society, and I kind of feel that some asexuals don't have a high self-esteem, and they can feel down on themselves because they're not like, a lot of people, they don't have the sexual attraction. So then I feel that sometimes they can feel like they're less attractive people because of the way society makes them feel sometimes. And I don't want that to be the case. If I think a guy's good looking, well, obviously I like foreign guys, then I will tell that person if I think they'll be okay about it, but I kind of feel like I really need to tell them, because I feel that I only live once in this life, and I feel life is too precious to not tell someone they're beautiful. But I'll try and do it in a way to not make them feel uncomfortable. I did it in a very nice way, just to say, just to let you know, I do think you have a nice face. You are beautiful looking, aesthetically and stuff like that, and that'll be about it. You know what I mean? There's because I do find foreign guys with a certain type of look, particularly like short dark hair, clean shaven, I do find them attractive. I can't help it. And I could not say anything, but then I think life's too short, If someone tells me I'm beautiful, even if it's a sexual guy, I personally think that's a compliment and nice. I'm quite happy to receive that. I'm very grateful that they thought that way. Even if guys get sexually attracted to me, I don't take it the wrong way. I think, well, that's a compliment, really. But I was, a lot of the time when I was younger, though, I had a lot of people that weren't so nice to me about my looks. So whenever I get people complimenting my looks, whether it's, because sexual attraction's behind it or not, I still say thank you. I'm still happy for it, and I'm a lot happier in myself now. I love the way I look, I'm not a skinny girl, but I still think I'm beautiful in my own way, and I love myself a lot more since I've understood myself being asexual, and you got to remember that this video is about friendship and healing, and I just want you to take away from it as well that one of the best things you can do is be your own best friend, and that helps to heal yourself. I think that life in general is a very, very oh, sorry, I'm gonna have some water. I think life in general is a very awakening process. It's a very discovering about yourself process. And that in and of itself can be healing. The more you understand yourself, the more knowledge you gain, the more insights you gain into yourself and your own world and the way you are. I think the deeper you can experience more fulfillment in life, and I think you can heal quicker, and I think you can heal deeper. And I think the whole process of life really is, I think there's a lot of pain in life, but I also think it's a constant kind of process of like pain, then getting back on your feet to an equilibrium, healing. Maybe you won't heal in every part or forever, but you've got some healing to do. And life is darkness and light. We are gonna have trauma in life, we are gonna have pain, but we've got to be really good friend to ourselves as well. We've got to really care and love ourselves, But I also believe that it's really important to have friends if you can. And even if those friends are online, just make as many friends as you can and try and get some genuine ones. I think it's hard to get genuine friends, if I'm honest. Those that really care about you. Those where you have an equal relationship with, where they care about you, you care about them. If they're feeling down, you want to ask, are you all right? How are you feeling now? And they want to genuinely ask that about you. And I'm thankful to have asexual friends in my life that do that now, but I hadn't had that for a long time in my life. So if you are asexual and lonely, I do understand where you're coming from. It can be really difficult, it can be very difficult to relate to other people as well, out in the big world, as it were. It can be very difficult, I think. Partly because I think we're different, we are different people. I mean, I'm proudly different. I've always been proud to be different, but that doesn't mean to say it's easy being different. it can be very, very hard, and you can feel like, I mean, I used to feel like an alien for years in this world, because, my parents I love to bits, but they are very different people to me, and when you are asexual as well, I think you have some traits that are probably very different to a lot of the majority of the world, and kind of, I think that can make you feel a bit alienated as well. So asexuality is a journey of discovery. It's a journey of processing yourself and your life. It's a journey of awakening to yourself, and it's a journey of a lifetime, really. I think asexuality can be very beautiful. I think it can really put you in touch with yourself. I think once you accept you're asexual, whether that be straight away or take some time, I think it's a real blessing, because I think only once you've truly accepted you're asexual and you're comfortable with that, can you really understand yourself, because asexuality is a part of you. It's a part of who you are. I know it just, like, I think something's kind of crazy, and I have to say, some people, they don't like what they call labels, right? But asexuality in and of itself isn't a label. It's a sexual orientation. That's a lack of sexual attraction. And obviously within asexuality, then you've got the various labels. But asexuality, just like heterosexuality, bisexuality, pansexuality, is a sexuality. It's do you know what I mean? I think sometimes it's a very, it can be very difficult, because there seems to be this, my mission in life is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again, right? This means that asexuality needs to be taken seriously. If people within inside their own community are kind of debating over labels and stuff, it's kind of like, I do understand that, but you have to understand that asexuality in and of itself, the word asexuality, is a sexual orientation in its own right. If you're not even acknowledging that, then it's kind of like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Because is asexuality, heterosexuality, pansexuality, bisexuality, And then obviously I can understand why some people may find it difficult to, like, talk about these things they call labels, but I don't really see it as like that. I just see it as like a classification. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get classifications of species of animal. Do you know what I mean? You get animals, and then you get species of animals within it. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of like the way things are noted. But the thing with asexuals is the community, they tend to come up with words, so they invent words, which is why it can be the whole sort of label thing can upset some people, because it can be like we get away completely from the world we live in, and it's hard for anyone to understand us who are not asexual. But the actual term asexuality in and of itself is a sexual orientation. That's a lack of sexual attraction. So that in and of itself isn't really a label. I don't class that as a label, because it's an orientation. And in order to be taken seriously in the world, you need to believe that it's an orientation. If you don't believe it, then how's the outside world, outside of asexuality, going to understand it? They're not, are they, or accept it? So, first of all, you have to have acceptance in yourself. And there are some asexuals that are asexual in denial. And then you get the other people that come into the asexual community and just like to use the word asexuality, and they don't really mean it, and they're not really asexual. And it's not nice, but I think, like I was saying about that troll today in that group, not in one of my groups. They weren't in my group. They were in another group. They come in it because they probably think it's quite absurd that some asexuals enjoy having sex when they lack sexual attraction, because to an outsider, they don't understand how come someone who says they don't experience sexual attraction actually does want sex then, or enjoys it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, don't get me wrong, trolls shouldn't be in groups. It's disgusting. I think this person, from what the other people were saying, I didn't see their profile, but from what other people were saying, they're a troll and they're asephobic. I don't agree with that. These people shouldn't be in groups. These people are disgusting. I'm just saying a point of view that, for the general population of the world, it is quite difficult for them to understand asexuality. And we must take the word asexuality very, very seriously. And to outsiders, they need to know that there are people that don't experience sexual attraction and don't like sex. So they know, because the whole world is for sex, right? To get loads of asexuals then saying, I really enjoy, want, or like sex, they can be like, well, what's the difference between you and a sexual person then? And then, oh, we lack sexual attraction. Okay, well, what's that then? What's the difference between a sexual who says they want sex and so say a asexual has a high sex drive, right? A sexual person has a high sex drive, right? They both desire sex, to an outside world. It's like, well, what's the difference? Do you see what I mean? So that's why it can be really difficult, because to all intents and purposes, both people want the same result, but just in different ways. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, it's food for thought, isn't it? But getting back to healing and everything, I think it's important, obviously, to be around people that aren't asephobic and aren't trolls. And I think it's important to still be in asexual community and support groups. It's really, really important. Sadly, you do get the odd troll now and again, who are out to cause trouble. You can see them on some of the YouTube videos. But we must get on with our life, and we must take ourselves seriously and our mission in life seriously in order to be taken seriously. And we must also get to know our own self seriously as well. We must not shy away from everything about ourselves. There's one person in one of my asexual groups, and I had this thing for Black Friday, in my groups. I said, let's play a game, and for every letter of the word black, BLACK, I want you to say something positive about yourself. And this person said, there's nothing positive about me. And that to me is really sad. I know there are some other asexuals that think that. They're down about themselves all the time. But in order to accumulate friends, in order to develop friends, you kind of have to start loving yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect anyone else to, if you know what I mean? And I know that might seem a bit harsh, but it's true. I have more friends now because I love myself far more. I'm not saying everything about me is perfect, because it's not. I'm not saying there are things about me that I wouldn't want to change or weaknesses, because there are. But it's not about that. It's about loving yourself and understanding yourself and accepting yourself for who you are, despite the difficulties, despite the problems, despite your weaknesses. But, still love yourself anyway. And I think it's really sad when no one can see any benefits about themselves. But I said I can see a benefit of that person because they're a very caring person. Even if they can't see it, and I don't know them that well, they are a very caring person. I can tell, And I wish for every asexual to see goodness in themselves. I wish every asexual to find some sort of place within their selves where they can heal themselves, where they can begin to love themselves if they don't already. Because it's so important. I used to be depressed for years, so I know what it's like to hate yourself or to hate your circumstances, to feel like dying, to feel horrible about life. I know what it's like to experience that. I had that for years, and I never thought I'd be like I am now, happy to be in life. Yeah, I'm upset about Chestnut, but I'm still happy to be in life. I'm still happy I'm living, still happy I'm breathing, still got goals, still got ambitions, still got dreams. In fact, I'm using Chestnut spirit to spur me on, to give me strength as well. But it's also, holding me back temporarily in moments of upset as well, and pain, which is causing me to be less strong in some ways. But, I'll be stronger because I'm going to get through it and everything's going to be fine. So, use the experiences in your life to better yourself, better your life, and, sit down with yourself and talk to yourself, but be kind. Healing is a process. It can, like I said, it can be a short time or a long time. And if you can't get any direct friends, there are places you can go, like meetup.com, which have groups of different social hobbies and interests. Join some social media, start a blog, because then you can make blogging friends online. I've met one of my blogging friends, actually, especially if you get blogging friends in your own country. I met one of them once, and this person, it was so funny. It was a female. We met in London, and I was talking to her, and she was saying all this stuff about me. I'm like, how do you know? She's like, because I read your blog. I'm like, oh. And she was telling myself about me. It was a very funny experience, very enlightening. But, social media can be used to its advantage when you're in groups that support you, that understand you, especially if you haven't got any people in person around you, just to chat to someone. People just like chatting sometimes. Sometimes there's some WhatsApp groups for asexual. Sometimes there's some Skype chat groups as well. Go in groups and post, I want to talk to someone at the moment, is anyone up for a chat? And if you want to talk on the phone and stuff, you might need to say that, but obviously then you might let everyone into your life. So you've got to be very careful, because obviously if you're vulnerable, you've got to be careful to let good people into your life, not bad people. And not every asexual's good, even though I love asexuals to bits. Do you know what I mean? So just, take time out for you. Try and get some friends if you haven't got any or many. Try and get into some groups. Like I said, there are certain numbers online that you can phone, like counselling and help numbers if you need it. And just really look after yourself. It's really difficult sometimes, but you've got to just take care of yourself and try and develop some friendship with yourself, even though it may be difficult, because that's going to really help you in the long run. Be caring about yourself, give yourself a hug, give yourself a love, give yourself some time and space to just, be you and be happy. Anyway, I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful. I know we've discussed quite a little bit about different stuff today. I'm really happy that you're my asexual friends on YouTube. It's always lovely to have you, Michael. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're one of my regulars, and I love you to bits as my YouTube friend. Obviously, I'm romantic, and I'm just thinking of you as a YouTube friend, so that's fine. But I just want, it's kind of weird when I say I love you as my YouTube friend. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have used the words I love you as my YouTube friend. But hey, I love you as my YouTube friend. I love Heather as my YouTube friend as well when she's on here. So yeah, it's all good. And I kind of think I used to be very closed off years ago and not saying to people I love them. But on my Facebook sometimes I just put I love you to all my Facebook friends, because I just think it's kind of nice to spread the love, and especially it's a different type, it's not like I love you, it's like just spreading some love in the world. I think it's a good thing, especially when you're trying to heal yourself. Putting love out to other people can actually make you feel it back, if you know what I mean. I try and remember now, whenever I'm really, really upset, to reach out to other people about their problems, because sometimes when I'm really upset, I'm thinking, oh, no one's messaging me, no one's care, you can get into a negative mindset, oh, do people care? Or they're going about their life? Well, I haven't heard from anyone, but when you start getting in, that's really bad. So just reach out to someone and ask them how they are. Do the opposite of what you probably feel like doing, because you're a bit self-absorbed. Go and ask them. So if you want love, give love out. Just say, I love my YouTube friends. Put on Facebook, I love you, all my Facebook friends. If you write a post on your Facebook profile and you put, I love you, my friends, you'll be shocked at the amount of people that usually start writing back I love you too, or they like your post and stuff, because it makes their day. It makes them smile, because they feel some love from someone when they might not actually be getting any at home. Maybe they live alone, maybe they don't, but just it can brighten their day. So try and brighten other people's days, and try and make other people happy as well, and try and reach out some love to other people, because it will also help you feel the same. Anyway, lots of love, Michael. Lots of love to everyone who else is watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and being an awesome ace team here on Asexualized, my asexual life. If you just joined this channel, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the great big subscribe button below. Hit that bell icon to get notified every time I post a new video, well, now I'm live. Post a new video or go live like now. And if you haven't already watched the video I posted several days ago, which was what I thought of the I Don't Want Sex documentary, which is Asexual and Looking for Love, go and watch that. It took me absolutely ages to actually edit that and do a whole commentary on it. So we've got bits of the actual documentary, which I have to say are not my own. They do belong to the BBC. I've used them for educational purposes only. But it's Asexual and Looking for Love, and it was specifically centering on those people that don't want sex. So if you haven't already seen my video, it does go on for about an hour. I have to say it took me ages to edit it, ages to film it, and do all the commentary on it. But I think, you could be really able to relate to what I'm saying, hopefully. And you'll see that the documentary actually had a lot of good qualities to it, especially if you're on the asexual dating scene. I know you might not be, but you can kind of see, you can probably even hear from what I'm talking about, that we do have a lot of struggles when we're dating. So, you know, even, you know, it might be just, even if you're not a romantic asexual, it might just be nice to look at that sort of perspective, if you know what I mean, because you might identify with the struggles of relating to the sort of normalized heterosexual world that we live in, when, you know, like, it's not really normal to us, is it? Anyway, oh, hi Heather, I'm just leaving now. I was just saying that I was just giving love to both Michael and you and saying thank you for tuning in. I said I'm giving some love out today to the people who watch. One of them's usually Michael and one of them's usually you. So yeah, I can't really, I've been on here for like nearly 45 minutes now, so you'll have to watch the video back. Lots of friendship love to you. And thank you so much for being an awesome, awesome YouTube friend. I was giving love out to you before you even arrived here, so thank you so much. And I'm going to conclude for tonight. Sorry that you came on later at the end, but better late than never. I love you to bits. Thank you so much for all your support, and I really appreciate you. If you go back through this video and watch it again, if you do like it, please give it a thumbs up. It does help raise awareness of asexuality, and it helps me out raise awareness of this channel. I'm hoping to get 400 subscribers soon. I'm headed towards that way, so that'd be fantastic. Don't forget to share this video if you think anyone will benefit from it too. And I will look forward to seeing you on the next live stream. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Michael. Take care. Bye.